So, in this podcast or webinar episode titled Breaking into Big Box Retail, we have the privilege of hosting Heather Cox as our guest speaker. She is the co-founder and president of Certify My Company and a diversity mastermind. And her expertise is in corporate matchmaking, so connecting certified businesses with corporations that are eager to do businesses with them. And she'll be sharing valuable insights on our enhanced digital certification and their significance for entrepreneurs and buyers alike. Now, the discussion is going to revolve around some topics like EDC and their benefits, recommended certifications, tips for breaking into, in this case in particular, big box retail, challenges and overcoming them, some success stories, which Heather has a lot.
So
and last but not least, we'll be recommending some resources and platforms that can really amplify your certifications. Also, stay tuned for our new product announcement and a chance to be in our early adopter group at the end. Okay. So, Heather, tell us about yourself, Certify My Company, and, definitely give us a brief on Diversity Mastermind.
For sure. It's my second favorite thing to talk about after the kids. So I am Heather Cox, president and co-founder of Certify My Company and co-mastermind of Diversity Masterminds. So Certify My Company was formed about 13 years ago. I was trying to figure out what my life as a working mom was going to look like. I was pregnant with baby number one, and I was asking a lot of women a lot of great questions about their experience. And I just found that the business owners were like amazing. They just had this excitement and this passion inside of them. And the ones that were, and I felt like the entrepreneurs that were really looking to business, looking to scale and grow their company, those were the ones that had like kind of figured it out and be winning it all around, which I thought was quote unquote balance. We've learned since then, but nonetheless, I felt like they were really doing a great job. And a few of them mentioned, I want to get this certification that my customer is asking for, and I just can't get it done. And I'm like, okay, right. You want a $10 million business. I mean, you can't get it done. Or you run a whatever it is, right? You run a business. I mean, you can't get it done. But when I figured out, I went home, did a little research. And so I came back to them and I'm like, I understand that what something's called in California is not what it's called in Texas, not what it's called in New Jersey. So now when you're trying to figure out what that document is or where to find it, maybe you never did it, whatever it is, I said, I can do it for you. I'll help you figure this out. And that's kind of how I think Certify My Company was born. I knew nothing about running a business or what I was doing, but it just kind of evolved. And within a few years, from going to the conferences and meeting people and just demonstrating my abilities and building those relationships, one of the corporate representatives called me an expert, and I was like, "Damn straight, I'm an expert now." If I wasn't before, I am now. So and then it just we started getting corporate clients. It just kind of grew from there. But then I noticed a huge, like an over and over and over again comment from clients that were saying like, I'm not going to recertify, or I just don't feel the value of my certification. And I couldn't figure out why, because I'd seen other people be very successful and really leverage that powerful tool of certification. And so I was looking for a solution that enabled them to not have to go somewhere, because I know what it's like. I have 5 kids. I can't always just get up and go. I seem to be doing that a lot lately, and I run a business. And at the beginning, it was just me, right? So I didn't have a support system. I wanted to be able to be very accessible. I wanted to cover both doing business with other diverse business owners, because I'm a huge advocate of that, as well as with the corporations. And I wanted it to be attainable. And so I couldn't find anything. So I created it. And that's called Diversity Masterminds. I partnered with another woman-owned business who has some of the expertise I didn't have. And so it's called Diversity Masterminds. And once you're certified, then you're able to utilize that resource.
Awesome.
There was a long answer to your short question. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, that really covers it. Sometimes, you have to create your own solution.
Right.
That is, the best thing ever. Now, Heather, could you explain for your business, EDC and how they can benefit entrepreneurs in the retail industry? I know you have a lot of experience in that, in terms of like leverage and credibility as a brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of companies, there's various types of certifications out there. And I do think that I like the way that you phrase it, layering, right? Because I think that it's a really amazing opportunity. So WeBank, which is the Women's Business Enterprise National Council, they have a retailable logo, right? And if you want to see if someone's a woman-owned business, now if somebody's like, if someone has a food truck and they are just on the corner or they're just going into, some local campuses, then the EDC is a great inexpensive way for them to show that they are women owned. Because if you're a sole prop, you're a sole prop, right? So now we're not really worried about who's running the show because it's you. That's who's doing it, right? When it's just you, that's who's doing it all. So, but like, for example, with the minority certification, it really adds an extra level of credibility because there is no separation. If you're NMSDC certified, the National Minority Supplier Development Council, which is the gold standard of private sector certification, right? It doesn't tell you if you're Black owned, Latin owned, Asian Pacific owned. It just says minority owned. So there is a large demographic of consumers, and I love to talk about conscious consumerism, right? Purposeful consumerism, whatever you want to say, that are really looking like, they're like, I want to buy from a Black owned business. So how do you know if it's Black founded and no longer Black owned? How do you know if it's Black run or not, right? So the fact that they're NMSDC certified, they're owned, operated, and controlled by an ethnic minority. And then if you have the EDC that says you're a Black owned business, layered together, that it's a greater demonstration credibility that says you're a Black owned business that's owned, operated, and controlled by ethnic minorities. That is a great way to get that extra emphasis to your customers.
Perfect. Yeah, so this is really, not only does EDC work for Canada,
right,
the US,
exactly,
and next year we're launching in Europe and Australia, New Zealand. So really excited for that. But on top of that, it works on a micro level as well. You could do local owned, city owned. Like when we go out, we read businesses, and it's like, oh, we're certified with the city, and it's just like, how many certifications can one person possibly get, right? So no, we've designed it to be accessible and to be layered with other products as well. But it is,
and I love the local owned too, because that's a big one. And I think that was something that really came out of COVID, is that people really understood the huge benefit and importance of supporting our diverse local small businesses, because that's why the economy struggled, right? Is because of those local small, they are the ones who are hiring the people in our towns. They're the ones making a difference in our own communities and economics. So I think it's great to layer it on top of that local as well. If I know I'm buying local and LGBT owned, or local and hello, now I'm extra excited. I know there's my favorite workout company is local woman owned in Vegas, because I get so excited. I'm like, I don't, that national brand with the famous, I shouldn't need my money, but the local woman owned one does.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, like we talked about, it's so crucial to layer this certification on top. We will differentiate, we will break it down to detail for you. What are some, let's talk about the non-fun stuff. What are some challenges like that we might face pursuing the certifications? And then also on top of that, just getting started with big retail sales.
Yeah.
Like knowing how to prep yourself and get yourself ready to be in front of buyers like that.
So let's say, for example, you want to be in a Target or a Macy's or a CVS, right? That's where it's great to have that layered certification. I would have one of the national third-party certifications, because that's really what they're looking for like their $1 billion roundtable goals or things like that, right? That show the ownership, operation, and control. The EDC is a great one to cover the ownership part, which is great if you want to say, like, again, we're minority or Hispanic owned, all those pieces. But the struggles are in a few different places. I mean, anytime you run a business, there's going to be a struggle, right? If you didn't, I'd be concerned. Okay. So something's not right there. So the certification process is daunting. It is overwhelming, which is why Certify My Company is out there for people to outsource the process to. And I'm a huge outsourcer. Anything that does not require my 100% attention is getting outsourced, because I just have too many things to do, and I have a lot of responsibilities and limited time bandwidth, right? So, but then the other cautionary tale, if you will, is a big company like those companies or any other can put you out of business just as quickly as they can help you scale your business. So it's really important to make sure you are prepared and to be very honest and forthright. And that is for a few different reasons. One, just make sure that you don't set yourself up for failure. Like if they want to hire you, let's say that you get a great gig with Macy's, if you're saying like, yeah, we can go nationwide, and you can't deliver, that is going to have almost forever consequences, right? Potentially. If you say, listen, I'm so excited about this opportunity. I think I can really only handle the West Coast right now. Is that a possibility? They might say no, but they might say yes. Also, I know a lot of companies who, when they were very transparent like that, they're like, absolutely, let's grow with you. They helped them find resources to grow the business because they were doing so well in that region. And that happens a lot also in groceries, right? Like you can only find certain things in certain grocery stores. And so it's about having those honest, candid conversations, which comes from having a relationship with the supplier diversity managers at these companies. They're the ones that can help advocate for you. I can tell you how many times we've had insurance levels lowered for us. We've had payment terms reduced for us because of those relationships we've built over the years. So now the other cautionary tale about saying, yeah, we can do it all and then not delivering is you mess it up for all the other diverse suppliers out there. If you say you can do something and you can't, it's unfortunately like any other like the diverse owned businesses are a minority within ourselves, right? So it's just like any other like smaller group, underutilized group, is that if you mess it up, it looks bad for all of us. So it's really important that you do what you say you can do. And if you can't do it, again, be very open and transparent. Might you lose the deal altogether? Yes. But the alternative might be even worse. So there's those pieces of it, keeping up with it, not pricing yourself too low ahead of time because you got to maintain that price level then. Those are all the things that are really come into play with getting to big box retailers. But how you first get in there is always the most challenging part, I think. And that's where programs like Macy's has it's called the Workshop at Macy's, which is for diverse business owners who want to sell to Macy's. And I think it's a 4 or 6 week course, and they go over pricing, what it's like to do business with them. Some people end up walking away going, I don't want to do big box retail anymore, which is just as important to know as if you want to do business with big box retail. Mm-hmm. Right. So there's those kind of courses. And through WeBank, Target did I pulled it up so they'd be able to reference it specifically. And we can add the information if we want to. But there is a whole Target program with WeBank to show, it's called Women Owned in Retail. Right. The next Women in Retail Target Supplier Showcase. They're doing showcases. It was yesterday actually. And they will show, they want to know about your consumer goods because they're looking, is this something that's good for our company to sell in our stores? And that's the type of program where you can say, we can handle the state of California right now, or we can handle the state of Mississippi. We can't do Texas and the whole Midwest at this point. You have to just know what your capabilities are and be honest about it.
So you've been with suppliers of different journeys, right? They embark on this journey. Who can they go to be their sounding board, to be like, yes, you are ready for this workload, or maybe you need to bring people in? Like, who can they go to find like the resources and where to apply them and invest in best?
That is a fantastic question. And I would give you a few different part answers. So first, I would definitely start with making sure you have the basics down. And that's where like a program like Diversity Masterminds would really come in. Then through most of these third-party certification organizations, they have mentorship programs. So for example, I took part in the Toyota mentorship program, which they paired me up with the CIO of Toyota North America. Now that is an unbelievable perspective into the C-suite of a Fortune 100 company, right? I don't speak C-suite. I barely speak corporate half the time. I'm always like, can you help me draft this? Like my corporate resources, because I don't speak corporate. So I wanted to know, so I had that sounding board, and I even said to Holly, I was like, Holly, she was my mentor. I said, the corporation, the representatives are always like, Heather, you're amazing. I love what you do. I mean, we're not going to hire you, but you're fantastic. I'm like, what am I missing? So she helped me with my verbiage to speak that corporate, that C-suite messaging. We created a video, and just at the panel I did 2 days ago at the Veteran in Business Conference, or I was not this panel, the one I was watching actually, Kaiser said, if I'm going to pick on Heather now, she made a video that I'm able to send internally to explain exactly why her company is important to our business. I could not have done that messaging adequately without someone like Holly. So now I had the opportunity to be in it again. And now TD Bank is my mentor. And now the cool part is she's actually in Canada, right? So as we have been moving internationally the last 18 months, her perspective is very invaluable because there's a whole different cultures, a different, like speak. I don't even want to say languages, but just like the colloquialisms of however we talk. Again, corporate speak there is different than corporate speak here sometimes. So she's, I had to draft a message to one of our corporate clients about something that was very sensitive, and she helped me with that messaging. So that would be a perfect sounding board if somebody's wondered if they're ready for it. Someone like that, a mentor that's on your side, and there's no ulterior motive on either side, right? If they can say to you, you know what, here's what I think you need to tighten up before you're really ready to get in there, is a great sounding board.
Right. Absolutely. Um, well, I guess we talked about establishing relationships, and I know that
Mm-hmm.
is,
You cannot talk about it enough, especially in the supplier diversity world.
exactly. So how do you know who is the right people and how do you find them?
It's a good question. So I always would start with the supplier diversity managers, okay, because their role, so supplier diversity managers usually sit within procurement, which is the part of the company that buys goods and services, right, for the organization. Sometimes they sit in the DEI, which is a little bit more rare, but happening a little more frequently now as the supplier diversity managers get more responsibilities. But the majority still sit within the procurement organization, and they are there to be your advocate. Their role is to find qualified, capable, competitive, certified diverse suppliers to bring back to their team. Now you have to prove yourself, because if they're going to stick their neck out for you and be like, I want you to talk to this person, you better make them look good, right? And all the diverse suppliers in that supply chain as well. So that's what I would start with. Now, let's say, for example, you're already doing business with a company and you've done a couple small projects. I would, and let's say you've already been in touch with the business unit leader, the person who bought directly from you. I would ask that person to make an introduction. Now, the smartest ask is going to for you to do your research first and find out who you want to talk to. Go on LinkedIn, do that research. Who is buying what you need to buy, where, or what you want to sell, where they need to buy it, where you need to sell it. And if you can find that, and that was like a big point. So when I led the panel for the at the VIB, Greg, who's from AT&T, he specifically said, if you're asking me who buys this, there could be 20 people in our organization, but I want to put you with the right one. So help me help you. So that's how I would find out. But just a little bit of research. Go online. There's a lot of information out there, right? Sometimes too much. A lot of information out there, and you can really find that person you need to talk to. Now, if you've searched and scoured and you just can't find it, that's another, maybe ask both your contacts, your business unit leader, as well as your supplier diversity manager. Say, hey, I've scoured everywhere. I think it's one of these 5 people. What do you think? And then oftentimes, not always, because these are tens of thousands of employees, right? But oftentimes they can help you figure that out.
I see.
And then also one more thing though, do not underestimate your fellow diverse business owners. So let's say you can always ask each other. I know a lot of people. I know people who know people I don't know, right? So it's a matter of saying, hey, like for example, here's a perfect example. Just yesterday, there was a webinar through Disability In, or maybe 2 days ago. I don't even know what day it is anymore. I've been traveling too much. And he was talking about a goal that their company had, this big corporation. And I was like, I can help them solve that. That's what they want to do. I can help them get there. I didn't know this person directly, and I could reach out and sell myself, but I have a colleague who isn't very good with this person. I said, can you make an introduction for me? So now I have a meeting with that corporation because I had that instant trust, because somebody who knows him really well is saying that, and this is a supplier, another supplier. So do not ever underestimate the other people in your network. And in diversity masterminds, we call it being a go-giver. I can't tell you how many times a company has asked me, do you do X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, I don't. Supplier Gateway is a perfect example. People ask me all the time if I do enrichment reporting. I'm like, I don't. But here's my 2 referrals. Supplier Gateway is always one of them. This is who I recommend doing it. Do I get anything out of that introduction? Not really, right? But now when they need something in the supplier diversity world, they know that they can come to me. And I'm always top of mind because I gave them a great referral.
Right. Yeah, it's the little things that count, and then the big things that count too.
Right.
I know you sit on a massive of portfolios of partnerships that you've created. So you're probably going to have to pick like maybe top 5 for us. Could you share some success stories?
about some fun clients in big box retail?
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, I would love to. So I'm going to start with one that's not specifically big box retail, just because I think it's such a great story. And she actually started in big box retail, so it's a little bit synergistic here, right? So there's a company, it's called American Fashion Network. Jackie Ferrari is the CEO of the company. She's amazing. We love her. And she, when you go into like Kohl's, for example, and they have their own specific brands, right? So that's what she would make. Her company made those. She's been in business for 20 something years. Great business. She had great factory relationships, etc. But then COVID hit, and there wasn't a whole lot of orders coming in from big box retail, right? Because they were closing. They weren't sure what to do. So she had to lay off a bunch of people. She was kind of scrambling what she wanted to do. And she decided she was going to transition. She had factory relationships, so she could make some of her PPE, right? That was a big pivot for a lot of people. So she did it. She got a contract with Charter Communications, who happens to be one of our corporate clients. And Charter Communications said, hey, you're women owned. Why you're not certified? And she's like, because no one cares. And they're like, well, we do. And we care so much, we're sending you to our resource to get it done. So she came to us, we got her WeBank certified. And I said, do you want to do WOSB just because it doesn't cost anything extra this way, whatever. Sure, fine, whatever. She didn't want to do the whole thing to begin with. We got her WOSB certified also, or we facilitated it for her, I should say. Anyway, so during that 90-day waiting period, she's at home with her new husband watching this movie called War Dogs. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's about these young men who sell arms to the government. It's a true story, actually, funny enough, or true-ish, I guess. I don't know. But so she's like, hey, and her husband, I'm going to start selling arms to the government with my WOSB certification. He's like, you're so funny. So she goes to work next day and she's telling her CEO this whole story, or her COO, I should say, her this whole story. And he's like, actually, not arms, but I'm sure the government needs some kind of textile, right? So they go online, the certification comes in, whatever, they go online. The Marines are looking for practice uniforms, $5 million contract. She would never have gotten it without her WOSB. She didn't even want the WOSB. So now every time she comes to Vegas, I'm like, martinis are on you, Jackie, because I made you get it. So that's one, right? That's a great success story. And the other one was I was on a panel not too long ago from a beauty association, and Ulta was one of my co-panelists, and they shared a really amazing success story. This is not one of my clients, but I just thought it was such a great success story that they had a woman-owned product in the store, and they've been there for a few years, but he kept saying, and Ulta does not require third-party certification, but Rick, the supply risk manager, will not market you internally. He's not going to spin his wheels or push forward if you don't care enough about their wants, right, to get certified. So he won't market you internally, but they don't require it to be part of their program, right? So this client, he finally talked to her and he said, would you WeBank certification would be great for you. Thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. So she finally did it. And within, I want to say it was like 18 months, or within a short period of time, he said in January 2023, an existing hair care brand became certified and has since been featured in several marketing activations for our certified brands. Year over year, their spend with Ulta Beauty has risen by 18%. That's a big percentage. Yeah. And she would not have been featured in those marketing activations. She would not have been a featured diverse brand if she wasn't certified. Right? That's amazing. Plus, the other really cool thing about being certified by whatever certification your client is looking for, or layering those various certifications, is a lot of companies will give you accelerated or preferred payment terms. They'll also give you increased sales through those marketing activations, because they want, you can't measure what you can't count. So without a certification, I can tell you I'm a Black-owned business and you can't tell me I'm not. That's why certification of some sort is so important. So they want to make sure that what they're saying about this product is true. Mm-hmm. And that's what the certification is. If they want to say, diverse businesses increase revenue by X, Y, and Z, they need the numbers, they need the metrics, right? You can just give all these examples, but they want the statistics, right? People love metrics and statistics. And so that's why certification is so important, is if we want to say it's good for the economy, we have to show it, we have to prove it.
That's awesome.
I have more if you want more, but that should be good.
What you can establish relationships, logistics is now a talk of that. That could be leverage in pricing and negotiations. And
absolutely. Even insurance. Like we always ask for our insurance. I remember one time we had a corporate client who asked us for an insurance requirement that the insurance would have cost more than the contract. And I was like, listen. And because of that, my relationship with the supply diversity manager, she went to bat for us. And they were like, because they're risk averse. They want no risk. So when she explained to them what we're doing, and we really have no access to their specific information, they're like, oh, but they didn't want to hear it from me, right? They need to hear it from somebody that's on their team. That's for them. And so she was saying, no, there's no risk here. So we were able to lower those requirements to what we already had.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Okay. Well, we are left with 4 minutes. The Q&A's here. if you do have a question live for Heather, please go ahead and drop it in the Q&A. And then meanwhile, we collect those answers. I want to announce, you got a glimpse into this, but I want to explain my background here. So currently, we are going to be focusing on small and local owned businesses because we know how important it is, right? So we are excited to announce that we are now offering door decals on premise and for local businesses to proudly showcase their diversity status to consumers. And these decals will represent as a visual representation of your business commitment to diversity and inclusion in your community. For example, we have Black-owned stickers available, women-owned stickers available, and LGBTQ-owned stickers
And
available.
disability.
And disability as well. All of the things that EDC does certify. As you know, EDC breaks down your certification from months to minutes. So the reason why we launched this is because if you look up hashtags on Instagram, TikTok, right, restaurants will have Black-owned and women-owned businesses and local businesses are one of the most popular searches.
Yep.
The restaurant blogs coming from these with these hashtags are they rank very high, they go viral very quickly. So, leverage your community and let your community know that you are one of them by showcasing it on your window. Additionally, also spas and wellness centers. And, one of your examples as well is that they have women-owned stickers out at the front, but share that with your community, get verified, get certified so that you can win corporate training contracts as well on top of that. And we've already tried out with one of the beta in our group, and it increased customer loyalty, positive word of mouth recommendations, and ultimately, what we care about is higher sales for the business. Nice. So if you are interested in being one of our early adopters, please go ahead and DM me or Leanne to get on our list, and let's get your certification going, and let's get the decals for your business.
Ask you a question about that, and for other people might be having the same question. For
Absolutely.
a local owned business, what is the requirement, right? So for example, if you're a company like mine I'm in one place, but we have people across the country, is that local owner? Because like the restaurant is a specific in one locale, and it's owned by somebody in the same locale?
I think it's more of a function. We offer this product for as an add-on.
I love it.
You need to showcase yours at an office or a location, or
I
if
love
your
that.
customers are more, they find you in person rather than online.
Got it.
We realized there was a need for that to be able
It's
to
true.
like a name tag.
Yeah. But actually, it's interesting. I've done a few panels recently where they ask what information do people want on capability statements, and more they're saying if it's local owned or not, where it is, because some of even these big companies are looking to support the local economy, especially with restaurants. I know companies like Microsoft or even Allstate, I think, have they bring in local restaurants for like a month at a time to be on campus, and they want them to be local owned. So that sticker would be excellent.
Exactly. But so please you might think you're doing enough marketing, but please speak to your demographics. Please speak to customers. Speak to the people who are walking by your office every day or coming to join you. They might not know that this restaurant was owned by a Black woman, or they might not. Yeah. So this is just another function for you to market yourself. And let me see here. We have some questions here.
I think, Ruby, you can DM her in the chat.
Yes, I see. What is the best way to obtain buyer contact? To email, possibly schedule a meeting of intro to your product. So this is from Premise Martin. The best way to obtain buyer contact. So I think you mentioned LinkedIn, right?
Yeah. Yeah, LinkedIn's always good. If you're certified with one of the third-party certifications, you can log in, and this is one of the things we talk about in Diverse Masterminds. We can show you where to find that contact information. Just to be very transparent, those directories are only about 65% accurate any given time, because one thing that holds true in the supply diversity world is supplier diversity managers jump around from company to company a lot, which is a pro and a con, right? It's a pro because they will sometimes take you with them to their new company, which happens, thank God, a lot over here. But it's also a con because I got to start a whole new relationship sometime with somebody at an existing customer.
Awesome. Okay, so for Pat, I gained my certification through you recently as a minority-owned, when women-owned small business and small disadvantaged business. Are there door stickers available for this? I can actually produce the decals if you need. Yeah, Pat, we would actually love to speak to you about this. We are scaling it massively. So yeah, would love to look at some new terms for sure.
That would be cool. It's like, so you can actually like real stickers you can put on there. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so I will hit you up, Pat. How do these larger corporations pay? I've experienced in the past of being very challenging in terms of payment. I'll let you go first, Heather, but we do have
Yeah.
that solve this problem.
Yes. I also, if I'm gonna forward you an email so you can share your screen on. That's about, because answer the question someone was asking about. Oh, that's the wrong one. They asking about one of the questions about how to about Target and those programs. So I just forwarded you the email just so you can kind of get an idea of what they're looking those programs are for. If you want to share your screen in just a minute when you get the email. Okay, payment terms with corporations. Yes, it is definitely can be challenging. Look, when my first corporate client, they paid us quarterly net 90.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do the math. That means work we did in January, we didn't get paid till June. I never made that mistake again. You have to negotiate payment terms up front before you sign that MSA. And again, if you are certified as a diverse owned business, you can use your internal advocate, that supplier diversity manager, to help you. Is it always going to work? No, but sometimes you can get it from 90 to 60. So you get it from 60. We have one customer that pays us net 14. Okay. There's a lot of options, but it definitely can be challenging. They don't all play nice, which is shocking because if they're supporting diverse businesses, you think they would do it, but it's not always their fault because they still have to run their own, they have to run their business as well. But I would definitely try to negotiate that up front. And I'm going to let Dawn give you like the answer that Supply Gateway has. There might be some other information out there. I know there's some companies that will kind of factor, if you will, for you. It's like a small percentage if you need to get paid faster. But I really would recommend from the very first, when you're looking at the MSA and you're reviewing the contract, I know we want to be like, yes, 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 just to get in there, but yes, yes, yes can put us out of business.
That is so powerful. Yes, 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 can put us out of business. I know we're all eager, right? When we get that contract, but it's so important. Now, on our buyers have the option to actually do in-app payment, and we have a partner with somebody that would give them cash back. And so it would be seamlessly if you were to opt in and ask an advocate for yourself to get paid through Supplier Gateway. They do have, depending on the amount of spend, they can get cash back for that. And so, pushing that's really important. And thank you for the email. I got the email. I think we should break that down into another.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. It's great information. So, and I'll follow up with you too, Michelle.
Mark, I don't know what Mark's question means. I can provide 30, 60 or 90-day terms, and I have my logistics as well to ship any location in the US. I don't know what that means. So Mark, if you can just expand upon that, that'd be great. How to become certified in a Black-owned business. So I'm going to let Dawn talk about the EDC, and then you can all there's various ways you can do it. Erin, I think it's really important to find out what your clients want to see. All the clients. And so it might be a conversation, do we do EDC solo? Do we do NMSDC and layer on EDC? There's a different ways you can do it. It's really important to know which certifications are right for you and your business. I'm going to put up, if you go to, I'll put up my contact information. If you want to reach out, you can schedule a call to talk about it, because we definitely want to make sure you're getting the right certifications for you and your business, because there are so many options out there, right? But you really want to make sure you're getting the right ones for your business.
Absolutely. So Erin, we have the EDC. This process is 15 minutes. On average, most people finish in 15 minutes, and you should get your certification within less than 24 hours
Fast.
afterwards. So we got that out of the way. But, you know, there's also other options. It just won't be, you know, Black owned on your minority. But like we talked about, you can layer
it.
Definitely layer it. It's a huge advantage.
I love the layering, especially for like the NMSDC one, because it's just a generic minority. Whereas like I think people really want to see like it driven down a little bit more now. So I love the layering, especially with the NMSDC. It's such a great idea. Mark had a question also. I own a veteran-owned, minority-owned small business and small disadvantaged business with supplier gateway certification. Woo woo! I sell PPE, medical masks, nitrite gloves, businesses. I can sell. Okay, fine. My challenge is getting the large buyers for these types of contracts and buys. Yeah, we could definitely meet up. When you're in Vegas, I'm always down to meet up, and everyone's in town. That is the one. That one of the biggest perks of it in Vegas is people are always willing to come to you.
So another tip: move to Vegas, everybody.
It is a challenge, and I would say, Mark, you're a perfect example of somebody who should layer your certifications. I would definitely get one of the third-party certifications as well as those amazing EDC ones that you have, because and then there is a great organization called Diversity Alliance for Science, which is made up of all biotech, biomed, pharma, healthcare companies that are looking for certified diverse suppliers, and they will want the layering that we're talking about here. The other option is to go to the conferences, because you need to be able to walk up to them. Now, I don't know if you're in California or not, but California just passed legislation within the last 24 months that requires all hospitals and healthcare systems to report their diversity spend. As of now, they are taking self-identification. And so all you already have, you are golden. I am a loud advocate for not creating another certification for them. As much as it'd be good for my business, as an entrepreneur, also, I understand the challenges of having to get and maintain multiple certifications, especially when it comes to this on the state level. And Mark, you're also another one that might want to check out state certifications, because some states have Medicaid requirements where they have to spend money with specific diverse suppliers, but it has to be through that state most of the time. It has to be that state certification. Like Illinois is a perfect example. It has to be through the BEP program in the state of Illinois. Again, talk to somebody who knows the ins and outs of the supply diversity and certification world, because you want to make sure you're getting the right certifications for you.
Awesome. Oh, okay. We have another one from anonymous attendee. This is something we talked about as well. We got certified as a woman-owned staffing firm a few years ago. Every client prospect almost just views it as a throwaway. It hasn't felt as valuable as we anticipated. Should we be looking elsewhere for clients who seems to value it more?
Yes, that is a great question. Exactly why we created Diversity Masterminds, which I'm putting the link in there for you. And if you put in CMC 20, it'll give you a 20% off discount off the program either when you purchase. But yes, so a lot of companies say they have supplier diversity programs. A lot of people say a lot of things these days. So it's important to know if they really have a supplier diversity program. Now, the other issue, so you can really do a very quick search. Just go on their website. If you Google like XYZ company supplier diversity program, you will be able to tell pretty quickly how much they've invested into the supplier diversity program. Is it just speaking points for them, or are they really looking forward to it? And again, going to the conferences will also really show you who's invested, who's not. The other thing I'll talk about is people always tell me, oh, that company doesn't care. And I'm like, really? Because they've hired us to help their suppliers. I know they care. The person you're talking to doesn't care. So make sure you recognize if it's the person you're talking to doesn't care about supplier diversity, or if the company doesn't. Because if the person doesn't, we need to find a different person inside for you to help make your advocate. If it's the company, then you definitely want to find a whole nother door to get in with that company. So, because yes, there are people who don't care. They stink pink ink. But the people who do care, you want to make sure you find them, that they'll be your advocate. So it's not always a company that doesn't care. Oftentimes it's the people inside the company.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And these things are so nuanced.
Yes.
Being able to spot who would be your advocate and is like investing in your success, diversity wise, um, I think that, we're always encouraging, like through the sponsorship programs or through campaigns for our buyers to communicate this, right? Are there any, it's very nuanced. So are there any signs, like sure signs that they do care? That this is the person I should be spending my time investing in, going after?
Well, the one thing would be, again, if they're at a conference, they're spending a lot of money to be there, right? So there's regional conference, there's national conferences. Again, you're not going to find conferences from state certifications most of the time. The California Public Utilities Commission is a little bit of a, because they're like pseudo private, pseudo public, right? Because it's a utility requirement, but they're not a government entity, anyways. But that's what the cable symposium was that I was at yesterday with Charter, Cox, and Comcast. They care, right? So it's a matter of really go online, but then show up to the conferences. I cannot. And I don't know if I didn't tell the Troy story here. I tell the story so often that I forget where I say it. But Troy, for example, like he took years, and now every time I see him at a conference, he's like, I should have listened to you and gone to them earlier. I'm like, yeah, everyone should listen to me, Troy. You just wear that t-shirt around town because it's true. And now he's like getting so much more traction from his certification because he's showing up. He never showed up before. He just did it for the one client who asked him, right? But now he's really able to leverage it. So it's really a matter of making those relationships, and you will very quickly find out, because especially once you start, I mean, I used to have this colleague and she specifically said, I don't have a lot of juice in my, they don't give me a lot of leeway. I just have to do a couple little things. That's my job, is to do that. So she knew that she wasn't able to bring a lot of suppliers into the company she worked for, but she was able to do some other types of programming and development. So you have to just have those conversations and ask and look online, talk to your fellow diverse suppliers. Have they had experiences with this company as well? Because a lot of us have been around for a while, so it's a good opportunity to ask those questions.
Yeah. Okay.
What is a good way to position your business if your CEO is not a U.S. citizen? I'm not sure the question there, because not every certification requires citizenship, right? EDC does not. It needs to be legal resident. No citizenship required. The private sector ones, the only one that requires citizenship still is actually NMSDC. So if that was the case, I would definitely do your EDC, minority status, because they only require legal residency. I don't really think it matters that much. It's not really a positioning issue. It's more of a eligibility issue, and it's only for that one certification.
Exactly. Thank you for answering that. Okay. Gonna give it.
And then Deepak has one. We have NMSCC, NYC, SBS, yeah, Port Authority. I don't know what diversity for alliance certified means, because they only take WeBank, NMSC, GLC, etc. IT managed care support, and it's just how we can mark ourselves in front of opportunities. Go to conferences, look at the email, take part in mentorship programming, and also do not shy away from tier 2 opportunities. So many times I hear suppliers say, like, I don't want to be tier 2. I don't care if I'm tier 22 if I'm getting paid. Because you know what? If you're tier 2, you have less legal responsibilities, less insurance responsibilities, a lot less responsibilities, right? But you can still get the exposure to the end user, which at some point could be a great idea. And even that panel with AT&T on Tuesday, he said, some of our best prime suppliers started out as our tier 2 suppliers. They had to get their feet wet. They had to kind of like move their way up, really understand what it's like to do business with a company like AT&T that can put you out of business, right? Again, we said this earlier. We want to make sure that we're not growing so fast that we go out of business. We see it happens not infrequently, unfortunately. So I would say, go to those places, check out the Diversity Masterminds program, because it's going to show you exactly how to do that. And also, one of the biggest challenges that we see with diverse suppliers, and it's one of our favorite things that we do in Diversity Masterminds, is your differentiator. You are not in a unique industry, right? IT managed care is definitely, there's a lot of suppliers out there. So you need to know how to differentiate yourself. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'll give you some free advice. It's not customer service. It's not how long you've been in business. Customer service is an expectation. It's not a benefit. So people are like, we have great customer service. I'm like, okay, you better. Okay, Okay. So it's a matter of how can you differentiate? Why is what you do, how is what you do better and worth 5 cents more than anyone else out there? There's people out there who say they do what we do at Certify My Company. And I was just at a conference a couple weeks ago, and there was like a couple of competitors there. And one of the corporate clients was like, "Oh, it's cute that they think they're your competitor," because there's a lot of people who say they do what we do, but I can tell you exactly why we're better than all of them. Exactly why we're better. So it's a matter of knowing why you're worth the either it's more money or you want that first in, whatever it is. Why should they take a chance on you? What is the value add? What is the benefit that they cannot get from anyone else? Deepak, did I answer your question?
We have so many great questions here. Unfortunately, we are a little bit over. So we're gonna go ahead and close the Q&A. Please follow up with our, we're gonna send out the recording. Those of you who missed it can definitely add other questions as well. This is a part of multiple series. And so let's see here. We have, okay.
I wanted to answer, somebody asked the question I messed up. It said, oh, share a few resources. Yeah, I'm putting it in here. Okay, got it. Yeah, so if anyone who wants, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find us at Certify My Company. All of my socials are at Certify My Co. Emails heather@certifymycompany.com. Do not add me to your lists, to your blasts, because I will quickly unsubscribe and delete them from my email. However, if you have a specific question or are looking to engage with Certify My Company, please do reach out to schedule a call. We are definitely booking into December already. We are, thank God we are very busy. But yeah, please let me know if you have any questions. Our goal is to make the business world more closely resemble the real world. And the only way to do that is to help elevate small, local, diverse suppliers. So please reach out.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for your questions. And Heather, thank you so much. It's always a great time having you here.
I think we have to do a part 2, man. They were asking so many great questions.
I know these are such great questions, guys. Please join in. We're definitely going to do a part 2. Yeah. So, and honestly, let's see here. Yep. I'm going to save all the questions here. They're so great, guys. Suppliers, thank you so much. Heather, thank you so much. Leanne, thanks for moderating. And I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. And maybe after that, we'll speak again.
Of course. Thank you. Have a great rest of your happy holidays, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye-bye.